Hey, good morning, good morning, good morning. Y'all know what it is. It's First Formation Morning Sports Talk. Falling with me, your boy Trey, my man Bishop. We got Cornelius, aka Cece, as y'all call him currently. I don't know if he likes your name, but you know what I'm saying? It's what it's what the people ask for at this time point.
That's
Gentlemen,
what
what's
they
going
asked
on with
for,
y'all?
bro. Hey,
What's
what's
going
going
on with
on?
y'all?
WGO, WGO. What's going on, everybody? How y'all doing? It's hump day, as we all know. It's
Morning.
Wednesday, as we like to call it hump day. It is time for first formation. And hey, man, y'all fall in. Y'all know what it is. Let's get it, man. For those that are late, y'all know we got that 4856 for you. So be ready to sign by 13. And make sure you hit that check mark and concur or non-concur to saying that you relate for this formation. With that, we got a lot to talk about. Some good games to start to play in. It started last night. What's up, Freddie? Good morning. Good morning. CC, how you feeling on this Wednesday morning, bro?
I'm feeling great. How y'all doing? Yeah, it's
Doing
good.
good,
We
bro.
with
I'm
it,
doing
we with
good.
it.
My Nets
It's
won, bro. I'm feeling phenomenal. And I went 2-0. I'm feeling. Matter of fact, CC, you went 2-0 too, huh? Let's ask. Maybe
Oh
so.
yeah,
I
two
went
and
2
zero.
and 0. You went 2-0. Trey, what what
Yeah,
what
two
what
and
was your
zero.
record last night? How'd you fare, guy?
you know what? It doesn't matter how you start. It's always how you finish. That's what it is.
Well,
You
we see
see,
how the
you see
Lakers
last night. You see how Minnesota started last night.
we
You
saw
see
how the
how
Lakers
you
finished.
see how the Clippers.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Ah, Freddie, love it already. I know, bro. You know I gotta get Trey, man.
Of course. Cornelius, how's it feel being with a little break from the kids, man? I don't want you to say anything that's going to incriminate you. You know, some of them might be watching you. You know, say so. And the rest of the administration, the school administration, how's it feeling, man? How's your spring break going?
Oh man, everybody knows the truth these days, man. You need a break. Like, you need that what they call it now, that mental health awareness. You need that little break,
Ah,
man.
yes,
Like
sir.
it
Yes,
couldn't have
sir.
came at a better time too.
Yes, sir.
I feel you. I feel
Oh
you.
yeah.
I think they can ready get. We about to have a spring break in or around this area as well. So I might take a little break as well as to get
Trey,
ready.
y'all ain't had spring break yet?
Nah, spring break is next week, man.
Oh,
Oh
yeah,
wow,
no
here in
spring
Texas,
break
they didn't
yet.
all have spring break already. Man, about
So
two
they doing
weeks
it
ago.
after Easter?
So matter of fact, it starts out this weekend with the Easter break, and then it goes on. Then they'll be out of school for all next week, and then go back. I think on the 25th or something like that.
Oh, okay, okay,
Oh wow.
So
okay.
so yeah, you got that going on. So you know what? I ain't gonna hold you. I thought about becoming an educator just to get those vacations. I was like,
I'm
I
not.
was like, what you say, Bishop?
No, I'm not gonna lie. When I first wait first, CC, what do you teach?
I teach all subjects. I'm at a private school, so the
Oh,
classes are
okay.
small.
Small,
The
right, right,
classes
right.
are small.
So okay, okay, yeah, that's I did that too, Trey. When I first came, when I first retired, I was like one of my first jobs. I worked at the actually worked at the private school which my daughter goes to. That was of course
Mm-hmm.
before she was born. But when I first retired, I worked out at the private school. I was a PE teacher, and
Mm-hmm.
man, when I say that's oh man, they have more holidays than anybody I've ever seen in my life, bro. Like they get out of school for everything. I mean,
Oh
they
yeah.
get out of school because the cloud was there was too many clouds in the sky. I mean, I was like, oh man, I love this. I mean, and then you get you get all the holidays like Christmas, Thanksgiving, like like to hate because teachers don't get paid enough, which I agree. But the time off and man,
The perks.
where can you go
Good
and you
morning,
be
Key.
off during the summer? You're off for the summer. You come back. You're off for Christmas. You're off for Thanksgiving. You're off for New Year's. You're off for this. You're off for that. Inclement weather days. I mean, good lord. I mean, I loved it.
Oh yeah.
I loved it.
So something in
Oh
which
yeah.
Speaking of the love, um, of course, I'm very sure Utah is going to love this as they did an update to Luka Doncic, and he is currently out indefinitely. I'm very sure the Jazz fans is
Sprained
loving
calf.
that. Yeah, sprained calf muscle. So I'm very sure calf the Rockets, not correction, the Utah Jazz fans are loving that due to the fact of we know
What up,
Luca
Brad?
is a walking squad. He's not a bucket. He's a
Bucket.
walking. Yeah, he's a walking
That
squad. Like
part too. You
yeah,
right.
he's a.
That part.
I asked
That
y'all,
part.
gentlemen, have y'all? I don't think I've been privy to have a calf strain. Have any of y'all had a calf strain before?
I have.
No.
It's crazy you asked that. It's crazy you asked that, Trey. Last week, right? I was officiating a basketball game, and I had what was it? I think I had 3 games that day. I want to say I had 3 games that day. Yeah, 3 games. Dude called me out the blue to officiate some games on post right here at Lackland, and went in there. Man, I'm 51 years old, man. I know better. I go there. I hadn't called a game in probably about 2 or 3 weeks. I go in there. Ain't get nobody stretching. Just know I can just jump on the court and do what I can do, run down this court with these young men. Mm-mm. I say about 5 minutes into the first half of the game, my right calf was burning. When I say
Mm.
burning, oh, I think I was telling you about that, Trey. I
Yeah,
told
yeah,
you
yeah. I think you
at a
was. Yeah, we
point,
talked about.
at a
Yeah,
point, I couldn't even run down the court no more. I was like, bro, I knew I was about to miss some calls. I couldn't. It's so bad because you barely can walk and you really can't run at all. You really can't run at all. And for me though, makes me wonder though, and I'm asking UCC and Trey, okay, I had that same calf. I feel like it was a calf frame, or it might have been mine might have been a cramp. Maybe mine was a cramp. I don't know. But I feel like for him, did it say how long Luke was gonna be out for?
no, they still haven't given it any time frame. They just said he's
Time
out
frame, right? I
indefinitely.
didn't think
Yeah,
so. I thought they might have updated him. I thought maybe you had heard some. And he shouldn't be out too long because that was last week, and today I'm fine. Well, I don't feel it at all. But again, mine might have been a cramp compared to his strain. I don't know. I felt like a strain to me. He didn't feel like a cramp. But yeah, either way. AP was good,
yeah.
man. Good morning. Good morning.
So yeah,
Good morning.
it if is unfortunate because I wanted to see. You got to think the last time we seen Dallas in the playoffs. I think did they make it last year? I don't think they did. They make it last year.
I don't even remember
They
Yeah, they
that.
got
were in the
bounced in
playoffs.
any case. They is in the
They made
playoffs.
it.
I
They
know
got
They
they
made
bounced
it.
in the first round.
okay.
They
First
took the
That's
round.
Clippers
right.
in seven
Yep.
last
In
year.
the first round. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
they
First
and then
round.
they went the year before that. They took the Clippers to seven in the when the Clippers were supposed to be one of the hot teams. So it's unfortunate, you know, what I'm saying Luca doing his thing, but he's probably going to be out. He's not going to be able to show up uh for this particular series against Utah. I don't think Utah can win. I mean, I don't think Dallas can win this series without him. But I mean,
Mm.
it might be a situation where he can
I,
fight
I didn't
through and go ahead, Cornelius.
I didn't think they could win it with
Really?
him.
You
Really, I
think
didn't
that you
think
think?
that
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I didn't think that they could win it with him. Yeah,
Ooh.
I think Utah is a little bit of a better team to all the way around than Dallas. Dallas relies heavily on Luca to perform. Whereas
Facts.
you got everybody contributing for Utah when it's on. And that what's that guy Clarkson, man? That guy, whew, coming off the bench, that
Yeah.
guy, he
Jordan
in the
Clarkson.
running for the six man of the
He's
year.
yeah,
He can
yeah,
ball.
Clarkson. He's a beast. He's a beast.
Another
Oh yeah.
He's definitely a beast.
dispelled another dispelled child from the Lakers. But of course, additionally, we have when we talk about injuries, Steph Curry is expected back in practice this
Yes, they should be.
potentially as they get ready to gear up for their series. As they currently are the number 3 team. What
Hmm.
do you think is the upside for the Golden State? Do they need Steph at this point?
Absolutely. Absolute freaking lutely. They sure do. There's
Yeah,
no.
they
There's
might be
no.
able, you know,
Go ahead, CC.
I was gonna say they might be able to put up a good fight against the Nuggets, the Joker of the Nuggets without Steph, but moving past that, they won't get far.
Mm.
Absolutely, I totally agree with CC. You can what I've never seen a all Robin show. I've never seen it. I've seen all Batman. I've seen just the Batman, but
Yeah,
I've never seen an all Robin show. So yeah,
right.
there's no,
I don't
there's
know. Think
no.
about it. Memphis was all robbing for about 20 something games, and they was in
No,
they.
see I beg to differ though, Trey. I don't feel like Ja is Batman though. I don't. I feel like that
Oh
whole team
wow!
is Batman. I don't feel like Ja's a Batman. I don't. I don't. In my opinion. CCU, you think Ja's the Batman of the
See, he
Grizzlies?
started. He started. He started out already. He
I'm just
started out
saying.
already on that.
CC, do you think Ja is the Batman of the Grizzlies?
I don't think he's the Batman of the Grizzlies. I think when it comes down to when the games get tight and they need a bucket, I think that's when you'll see uh, his shine a little bit more. How important he
Mm-hmm.
is to the team in close games. But as far as being that guy, no, I think Memphis has enough pieces where they can move that ball, man. Ball movement is everything with that team.
Exactly. Exactly. I totally agree. And Memphis, we've seen, like you said, Trey, Memphis, we've seen they can win without Ja. Golden
Can
State
they?
ain't that team yet. They won
So
some
yeah,
games, but they ain't that team to go a whole
can they beat?
series.
Can they beat? Can they beat? As we're well, you know what? I'll wait. I'll save it.
Yeah,
We
wait,
get
wait.
into
I
it.
know where
We
you're
get.
going with it. I know
Yeah.
exactly where you're going with it. Yeah,
I'll give. I'll come back.
yeah.
So
I
of
know where
course,
you're going
additionally,
with it.
so Steph Curry, like you said, he's coming back. As y'all said, is a possibility that that they can take care of Denver without him. I agree because Denver just doesn't. At this point, Denver is full of Batman. Is full of one. Is full of Robins. Maybe not even Robin. They got they got Batman and
What's his name? What's the
they
dude?
got they got
What's the
Batman
butler?
and Alfred.
Alfred. Yeah,
They they
butler
got they got
Alfred.
they got Batman in them. That's what they got at this
Yeah,
point.
yeah.
So
That
so you
part.
know what I'm saying. So possibly for the most part, like Cornelius was saying, they might be able to take care of them. But as far as without Steph going into the next round, it's probably not going to happen, or it's not going to be likely. But I mean, as we all say,
Hmm.
as I always continue to say, they all are professionals.
Hey Trey, that's a
Oh
nice
yeah.
jacket you got on there, guy.
I
I just want
appreciate
to
that,
let you
guy.
know.
Oh
Yeah, no doubt, no
Thank you.
doubt.
Yeah, appreciate. Thank you.
yeah.
Uh, Of course, yesterday the NBCA, National Basketball Coaches Association, selected their coach of the year. It's not the league award, but it is their award as they look for inward towards their peers to give to award who they think is the coach of the year. Of course, this year it went to none other than Monty Williams, head coach of the Phoenix Suns.
Mm.
Of course, top record in the NBA. I asked y'all this, right? Does does a top record is a top record deserving of such an award, or should it be more to entail?
I
Say
think
it
yeah.
again.
I think if you have the top team, Trey, I think that says a lot. But I also where you brought a team from, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
you have to look, like take a team like the T Wolves who won 23 games last year and they won 46 this year. So you have to look at a
Mm-hmm.
coach, that turns a team around also. But yeah, I think being head and shoulders above the rest of the league, uh, it bodes well for you when you're trying to be coach of the year.
Bishop, you
What,
agree?
what was your question?
Should the simple fact of a coach should a coach win be coveted to win the award, a top award, just because their team is the top team in the league, or is it other things that we should be looking at? Because this
No,
in this case,
I think
Monty Williams has the top. They the only 60 win team in the league.
right. I mean, that speaks for itself, doesn't it? Doesn't and as a coach, doesn't your record, your performance, what your team is doing within the league, doesn't that speak volumes as a coach or you as a coach? So
I
why
mean, yes.
shouldn't it? Well, go
I
ahead.
For me, when I look at it, it goes to what the second part of what Cornelius was saying. Basically, where he was like, "You like Minnesota." Not saying that their coaches are deserving of the award, but true enough, They was 20. They tripled their double correction. They doubled their win totals this year, which got them into the league. At one point, they was one of the hottest teams in the league. So I look at that type of stuff when you look at where a team came from or where they're at currently. Of course, I'm very sure some other people that would be in that, but I mean, like you said, but additionally, we can't knock the fact of Monty Williams, a 60 wing team in the league. They was a very, very, very hot team. They went on multiple runs with double digit figure win streak. So hats I gotta have his hats off to him. At one point, he was without his top player or one of his top players. I know there was a point in which all their top players played, in which they hadn't played before, but we're not going to get into that. So it's just one of those things, man. So you know, what I'm saying, shout out Monty Williams, uh, NBCA Coach of the Year by his peers.
Is he
Um,
Batman though? The dude that was missing, is he considered Batman?
so
Ooh, he's
I
thinking about it. CC,
so
is he a
I
Batman?
so I don't know because you got. I think they got two Batmans.
Can't have two Batmans, bro.
You can't have two
Can't,
Batmans
there's no such thing as two Batmans, bro. This ain't Spider Man and the Spider Man and the three
in the
Spider
in the
Mans in the movie.
multiverse.
You can't, yeah, multiverse. You can't do that. No, there's either a
Ah,
Batman and a Robin.
it's you know what? I don't know who's the Batman there. You know what?
CC,
It's
who's the Batman man there for you? Is it CP3 or is it Devin Booker or is it vice
It's
versa? Yeah, yeah.
for me the Batman for them is Chris Paul, man. Everybody knows
Okay.
it. Like if you take him off that team long term, Booker can put up numbers, but he can't put that team. You know, he can't keep everybody involved the way that Chris Paul seems to motivate everybody on that floor, man. You know.
Good answer. I like that. Good answer. I like that.
so I assume he's your Batman as well.
So to be honest, I would say yeah, I give the slight edge to CP3 for all the reasons in which CC just mentioned. He controls the game. Like that's one thing about CP3. There's no person out there in the league that controls the floor as well as CP does. He is a floor moderator. He tells everybody where to be, how to get there. Like he's always pointing, showing. And not saying other players in the league don't do it, but they don't do it like CP3 does. He's finesse with it. It's crazy how he runs the floor, bro. So yeah, he for me he is the slight edge. And if you really think back to the Batman and Robin era, everybody assumes, and I don't know if it's true or not, but everyone assumes Robin is younger than Batman, and I believe
Right.
he is. And that's how CP3 is. You know, he's the older guy. He's the veteran.
Uh,
CP3 is your brother, so it's no problem. But of course, yes. I for me, I just I mean, we can't take anything from CP3, of course. But sometimes you start to relinquish that role in which, but then again, I agree with what y'all both were saying. Cornelius, what you was basically saying that you cannot. Booker might not be able to carry that team over the course of a season, or saying be able to to elevate
Ooh,
them if it came down to it.
Anthony, you agree with Anthony? Y'all see what Anthony said?
What do you say?
CP3 is the
call him a
butler.
butler.
He helps Batman be greater.
Woo!
Batman looks wow.
Mm,
Butler.
Anthony, those are
Wow.
strong words, bro. Those are strong words, bro. Wow. You put CP3 as the butler? Not even Robin? Wow. Wow.
Yeah, no.
So let me ask y'all this real quick, since we still on the subject of the Suns, real quick, because like there's not much more to talk about them because they're the number one seed. Um, is the Suns the team to win the NBA Finals this year?
no,
Are they the team to win it
no,
back to back going to the finals? Are they the team to host the trophy?
no.
CC?
That remains to be seen. That remains to be seen. I think that they have a. I think that if they don't, then that's gonna, of course, hurt CP3. The window's closing on him, but man, I wouldn't say I picked Golden State. Months back when I was on this show, I picked Golden State to win it all, to come out the
Right.
West. That is,
You
uh,
keeping that
but
same
I think
energy?
that,
He said you keeping that same energy though.
for Golden State to come out of the West. Well,
Yeah.
right now it's just depending on how healthy Steph is, man. If Steph is healthy, then yeah, I think they can still come out of the West. Um, Phoenix, they have the same team, so they're going to run into the same problem again when it gets tough. Like they're going to run into that same problem of not being able to stop a team from going to the bucket, man. Like even with Aiden out there, they can't stop people from going to the bucket when they feel like it. That's going to be their challenge. Can they keep the other team from scoring late in games?
Hmm. Okay. So
I
you
agree
feel
with
like
Keith.
CC?
Well,
It might be Bucks versus something. So you feel like CC? This is the what do you call it? The thing I just had it. This is the I had it. This is the basically this is it for them. Either they win it this year or they pretty much it's
The window starts to close.
yeah it's history for
oh,
CP3 and the Suns.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's gonna because it's gonna get tougher. You know, a lot of a lot of moves will be made in the off season that's gonna make the West tight again. The West was a little bit down this year. Uh, Everybody can see
Facts.
like gaps. Like normally 1 through 10 or 11 teams are always close and fighting in that West. But it'll be back again. It'll be tougher to make it this year. I think they have a better shot of at least making it to the finals. But I don't think, like I said, if Golden State comes ready to play, man, it's going to be hard to beat them. Everybody knows jump shooting teams. That's the only jump shooting team that I can say that could just run the table real fast because they can shoot you out. They can shoot you out of the building real quick.
Mm. Facts. Facts. Facts.
Hmm. So of course, not to bring them up because they're not in the playoffs, but it was reported yesterday as we was talking. LeBron James has an endorsement for one particular coach, in which he said he would be enthused to get his hands on.
Why are we talking about the Lakers? They're not playing
I
anymore.
we'll get to your question in a second, Dre. So
Why are we talking
of,
about the
co-
Lakers?
of
I mean, they're not
course,
even they're not in the
because it's
play
news. There's still news. There's still
they're
news.
not
They're
in the
still
play.
very relevant even out the playoffs. Of course, that coach, in which we talked about briefly yesterday, he said he would be enthused at getting Mark Jackson as the LA Lakers' next head coach.
Hmm. What do you think about that, Trey? Mark Jackson is being the head coach for the Lakers. That's your
I think
squad. So what do you think?
I think LeBron needs to go sit down. No more, Russ. No more. So this is why I look
Oh.
at it. So this is why I say that, right? What LeBron his for the most part, you think about who's going to be a good match for him. The Lakers don't need that. They need who's going to be a good match for their organization because LeBron's going to be done in about 2 or 3 years, and then we could potentially still be left with that same coach and not be able to coach or mesh well with the personnel after LeBron has been gone. So it has to be someone that is going to be able to continue to coach after LeBron is gone, after potentially AD is gone, after Russ is gone for the most part, and they have brung in and ushered in a new set of players. Like that's basically what it is.
Hmm, okay. Okay.
We know what the truth is, Trey. Right now, it's about the Lakers try to snatch headlines as always. When you're not
As
That's what we
when you're
do.
always.
not
That's
relevant,
what we do.
like AP, like my man AP saying on the screen right there, like they're not in the playoffs and we still talking about them. It's about trying to snatch headlines and remain relevant. Is Mark Jackson? whether it's a LeBron move, and I said it yesterday that I don't think that that's the guy for that job at all because he's a little too old school. That's why they ran him out of Golden State years ago. Was that he was a little too old school, not a players coach, which is what the league has turned to these days. You need a players coach, not a coach that's going to come and say, "Hey, it's my way or the highway." Right? LeBron is notorious for either making a coach or breaking a coach, man.
That part.
Dre, say that with your chest, baby. That's all they don't understand.
We never. You know what, Dre? I'm gonna be honest with you.
Don't listen to him, Dre, because this guy won't even watch winning season. He's a question for you, Cornelius. He was asking.
Oh, he was run. You know, he was
Best
run out of
franchise.
Golden State. He was run out of Golden State because he couldn't get the right pieces around Steph Curry, and you know he had all those shooters, but he kept trying to play in the post. Man, you got Steph Curry. You see when Steve Kerr came, they opened the floor up, they spaced it out, and they made it where the shooters could shoot. That back to the basket stuff is a little bit played. You see 7 foot dudes standing out of the 3 point line now. The game was changing then, and he didn't see it coming. It's like you still trying to play in the post and stuff. You know, you had old Andrew Bogut and stuff like that, man. It's like you're not gonna win with that. You know, you weren't gonna win with that. So they brought in somebody that said, hey, you know what? We could switch to five, go small, and let these guys run up and down the court and get in the passing lanes defensively and make plays.
So I mean, it remains to be seen. I'm just looking forward to whoever to get. Hopefully, they're going to be conducive for the whole squad for additional years. We haven't had a long tenured coach since. Wholeheartedly agree. But so we haven't had a long tenured coach since Phil. So hopefully, we can get back to that. Um,
That's true. That's true. I agree with that. Yeah, I'm definitely it's Phil. It's been a minute. It's
so,
been.
but
Oh yeah.
let's talk about people who are still in the playoffs currently.
Yes, yes. Let's do that. Let's do that. Let's do
Lakers
Yes.
still the best team in the NBA. But
that. No, they're not the best team in the NBA. How can they be the best team when
best
they're at home?
franchise. I stand
Oh, okay.
corrected. Best franchise in
Correct
the
yourself.
NBA.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Correct yourself. Thank you. Correct
best
yourself. Thank
franchise.
you. Thank
Uh,
you.
so I asked this question: Harden and KD connection, and of course, anyone in the comments please feel free to chime in. Harden and KD connection. Why didn't that work?
Exactly. Just that Harden and KD connection.
Yes.
You talking about when they was in when Harden was in Brooklyn?
Yeah.
Um
We love it. Oh, go ahead. I'm
yeah.
sorry.
Uh that's a good question, man. I really don't know. For me, I feel like for me, Harden really didn't want to be there, to me.
Hence the reason why he didn't really work on his
Yeah,
conditioning and
yeah. I don't,
everything.
I don't, I feel like he really didn't want to be there. For me, I feels like he already had played with KD in OKC, so he knew what KD brought to the table. He knew how it felt to play with KD. Um, and I don't think he was so excited about playing with KD again. You know what I'm saying? Maybe Kyrie, he was more, acceptable of playing with Kyrie than KD. But I
Mm,
really, in my deep down, I feel like KD really did. I mean, Harden really didn't want to be in Brooklyn.
Dre
And
says
I
never,
think he
neither
even
would have
mentioned
we
that
let him
he
do.
wanted to go to Philly in the first place before going to Brooklyn.
Mm,
Yeah, I think that also I think that the Nets were just a way for Harden to get out of Houston. I think he already had
Mm-hmm.
intentions of playing elsewhere. Going when he went
That
to
part.
Brooklyn, I don't think Harden was sold on playing there. It sounded good. I mean, you got to think about it. It sounds good, Kyrie, Harden, and KD. But realistically, to me, it was never going to work because Kyrie, even when you throw him in the mix, he dribbles a lot. At times, Harden dribbles a lot. it's one rock out there. It's one
That
rock,
part.
and it's like you got two dribblers. Two dribblers. They excellent passers, but they love to put their skills on play. That just wasn't going to work, and you know how Harden does, man. Anytime it's a challenge, he seems to tap out on a real challenge.
Mm.
Right.
In which, like Dre
That
was just
part.
probably saying, Harden, Kyrie was his problem, but it was bigger. It was bigger than basketball. I think with Harden. Harden probably looked at it as, or presumably could have looked at it as, he wanted, he wanted to do damage in that organization. I mean, he wanted to do damage while he was there. Kyrie wasn't there because of whatever his reasons were. And then KD's out, and it's like it's all on him, and he doesn't have he didn't have the means. Like I said, he was not conditioned well. Uh, no, I mean his worst condition is when he was in Houston, but of course he wanted out of there, got to Brooklyn, and then somewhat of the same problems continued. And then even think about when they played Brooklyn, what happened? He tapped out when they got wrapped his leg, had his seat on the bench. Like, I don't know. Come on, Harden, you from the Southern Cal, man. Stop it. Can't be
You know
doing
that's
that.
what they breed out there, bro. You know that's what
No,
they
that is
breed
not what they do out there.
out that's crazy.
So of course, last night poor Sixers. Key, it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate, Key.
Yeah, Key. Unfortunately,
Oh yeah.
y'all got our problem now. He's no longer our problem. He's y'all's.
So of course, last night correction. We're gonna start with the Clippers. Let's start with the Clippers.
Oh,
Last
wow.
night,
This dude,
last
he was
night,
a huge
last
hater,
night,
bro.
last night,
God, this dude hate,
The Los Angeles Clippers took on the Minnesota Timberwolves in Minnesota to start the play in. Um, and it was a hell of a game when you take in consideration, like Bishop has just put up on the board. Big Cat, I don't know where he was, probably somewhere with Jordan Woods. I don't know what was up with him. You know what I'm saying? Big Cat was getting mauled last night, like as the Clippers unfortunately took the L. They were led by Paul George. Came on late in the third quarter, 18 points in the third,
Woo.
but it just wasn't enough. Well, he finished 34.7 rebounds, 5 assists, 16 points, 3 rebounds, 1 assist for Norman Powell, who made his has just been back. Reggie Jackson, 17 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists, and 12 points, and 1 assist from Marcus Morris. But like we said, all the heavy lifting. Oh wow. All the heavy lifting, of course, done by D'Angelo Russell and Anthony Edwards, as they respectively 29 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists for Russell, 30 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists for Anthony Edwards, 11 points for Karl Towns, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, 12 points from Malik Beasley and Patrick Beverly, who of course always seems to do more damage in other ways. 7 points, 11 rebounds, 3 assists. Gentlemen, when you looked at the game, did you see this outcome? I know y'all both
Yes, yes, we chose the
Minnesota.
winners. Yes, yes, we
Both
chose
y'all
the winners.
chose Minnesota, but did you
Yes.
actually believe this would be the outcome? Like, would it be this close a game? Did you foresee that
Oh
Cat
no,
wasn't going to have a game? Uh,
no, no. I honestly have to say right that Big Cat he had four fouls in the first half. Four. He had 2 points going into the halftime. 2 points. At that point, watching that was it 4 points?
No,
At that
he had 2 points. He had 2 points at
mhm,
that time. I was saying those four fouls. Yeah.
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Them four fouls. At that point, I'm not gonna lie. When I was watching the game, because I did watch that game, I'm not gonna lie. I said, yeah, the Timberwolves can't win this one. I knew at that point. I was like, well, I'll be 1-1 because the Timberwolves ain't gonna win this one. I did. I really felt that. But Russell and that young boy Edwards, them boys are the truth. Them boys are the truth. When I say them boys took over that game, it was like, okay,
That's priceless. That look right there is priceless. so, so of course, Cornelius
BK,
did. Oh, there you go. There you go. You back?
Oh well,
Go ahead, yes, Cornelius. Go ahead.
I just thought I thought that Cat was gonna have a bigger impact on the game. Um, but I just saw that he was playing. I don't know. It was sort of like he didn't want to play his total game or something for some reason. Last night, I thought first half, I thought they were going to be in trouble at halftime without him playing. But it's like Bishop was saying, um, man, Edwards. And I said that yesterday that Edwards would have. I thought him and Cat would have a big games, but Edwards, he brought his game. But I actually think the game was lost. I think Paul George let another game slip away, in my opinion. Missing all those shots early. Um, didn't really shoot well. He had good numbers at the end of the game, but he didn't really shoot well. The timely buckets and stuff, and also missing those free throws, man. Paul George, come on, man, you're a better free throw shooter than that. Missing those free throws, man, that hurts.
Exactly, and then, but I think really, you know, what I'm saying, and I love the game of Patrick Beverly to an extent. He's definitely one of those players that you want on your team, but you don't want to play against him, in my opinion, because he those intangibles that he brings to the game gets us on mind, real feisty, always like a pesky type individual. In doing those things, those situations, he causes problem. Like you said, he ain't score much, but he did, you know, saying little things. He's one of those players that get you thrown out of the games, as he almost got Marcus Morris thrown out on a double technical, which they rescinded because they figured that that it was him that basically instigated the situation. But of course, like Beverly, Edwards, Russell, uh, again another cast off from the Lakers. But I mean,
You and those Lakers, man.
man, it's like when I sit and I look at it, I'm like, man, we can choose talent, but we can't keep it, or we don't develop it. Maybe that's what it is. You don't develop talent well. We ain't had a person to develop a good player since Kobe, uh since Phil Jackson developed Kobe. Um, but in any case, say Brian in the way.
Running
uh,
away.
yeah, so so basically, you know, saying that's what it is when you look at it. It's like they got it, but definitely, like Dre said, he got to tighten up. Got to tighten up. If he doesn't, if Cat don't tighten up, it's going to be an early exit for him because they going to get Memphis. But we'll touch on that in a second.
Let me
Um,
ask y'all this real quick
yes, sir.
before I'm having problems with my internet. It's acting up don't right now. I don't know if it's because of the weather or whatever. But where is it at? Where is my thing? Oh, here we go. I'm taking this to you first, CT.
Oh, what is it? This question that's on the screen.
Yep.
Yeah,
Would the Clippers still be in the play-in if Kawhi and George were healthy? No, they would probably be sitting in that they would probably be sitting somewhere 1 through 6. They wouldn't be at the bottom right there. I think Denver. I think in that instance, Denver would be the odd man out in that situation.
Mm,
They would fall off. You know,
mm.
the Jamal Murray list. you know, Denver Nuggets, they wouldn't be sitting where they're sitting.
Right. I totally agree with you, man. Like I said, I watched that game last night. That darn Paul George, man. That boy, he tried everything in his power to try and get that win. He did everything he possibly could to try and get that win for the Clips. He didn't have enough, man. He didn't have enough. And if Kawhi was there, I'm like CC, it would have been a total different game. Total different game if Kawhi was there. They only won by what, 4? I think they won
Yeah,
by 4. Now, don't get me wrong. Patrick Beverly had a purpose. You know what I'm saying? As y'all know, after the game, and they did the post game conference with Beverly
and Bennett.
Beverly and Edwards, and
Mm-hmm.
they asked him, what did
I
he
mean
tell? What
Edwards.
did he tell the players of the Clippers? He said, "Go ahead and carry your ass home. Get on the
yeah,
plane and carry your ass home. Y'all got a long trip home." He had some animosity to them Clippers, bro. He had a whole lot of this man crying. He's crying as though he won the NBA Finals. This man is shedding
Right.
tears. I mean, and when I say crying, he got the snotty nose. He got the 2-year-old snotty nose cry. He got the snotty nose cry.
Oh yeah.
As though he just won the
Emotions,
NBA
the
Finals.
emotions.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
it's the playing though, Trey. It's not the
but it's
playing.
still he had to dispel those demons of what he had in being
Right,
casted off. The Clippers let him go, basically, and now to
right.
sit up and be play. So I was gonna ask you, like, have y'all ever played against a team in which you used to play for? And say, of course, like in like let's say in the murals or something like that, or just pick up.
Mm,
Have you ever went and played against a team which you play for, and you or just a team in which there was an opposition, that there was an ops? It yeah, like you say, it's that it puts something to you. Like I had like I set up in my ex-wife, right? Oh, Bishop, you was there for it. You was there. Remember we played when we played in the for the DFAC and we made it to the Fort Polk uh the Fort Polk championship. I mean Fort Polk playoffs. Not Fort
you
Polk,
mean
Fort
Fort
Hood.
Hood?
Yeah, Fort Hood
Yeah.
playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
And remember the first game that we got, we were so let me break it down for y'all real quick. So at the time in Fort Hood, around that time frame, back in like 2010, 11, 12, or something like that, what it was the way Fort Hood was built is that you had your sections, a division. So you had a team, you had a division which is first calf, you had a division which was 13 SCE or supportive units, and then you had, of course, fourth ID or whoever it was, third ACR, whoever it was that was on the opposite end of the installation.
Mm-hmm.
Those teams played against each other. They all had their own tournaments in which they decided who was going to go to the Fort Hood championship. So this particular year, our team G Unit, it was a team full of cooks, played, and we ended up becoming the fourth seeded team in from out of 13 COSCOM, 13 ESCE, whatever it's called now. And of course, there was other teams. So my wife at the time's team, additional, her team ended up making it to. They was number two seeded team from coming from the third ACR, whoever or whoever it was, fourth idea, whatever it was, down that time. So that's what I'm saying. It does something because I balled out that game. Like, what I'm saying, I was in a complete different zone in which like it was like defenses. Like I had an opportunity at 6 interceptions, but I didn't get them. But it was breakups. So I say a touchdown. You know what I'm saying, key passes, key plays. Like it was like I was in a whole nother zone. I was zenning it out. So that's why I think it was like that same type of not to mention we was in the process of getting divorced too. So what I'm saying, so it really put a whole different spin on it. So I think that's the same thing where you look at Patrick Beverly. He was like, he needed this win. Because what I'm saying, especially when you're doing all that talking and bumping of your gums, you need this win because it goes for nothing. And now he needs to continue to win or be quiet, because if he doesn't, all they're gonna do is be like, bruh, y'all, you act like you won a championship, just like Victor said. You won a chance to go to the play to get a chance to play against the number 2 seed. What's good? What's good, Frank? What's good, LB? So
Well,
what I'm
and
saying. Go
don't
ahead,
get me
Joe. Go ahead.
wrong, Trey. Yeah, don't get me wrong, Trey. I get it because this first time in Minnesota has been in the playoffs. I think in I don't know how long. And not only that, I mean, I understand you feel some type of way when a team no longer believes in you and ships you off to
Mm-hmm.
another team, and you have an opportunity to prove to your former team that you still have something left in the tank, and you made a huge mistake by letting me go. Like Paul George said in his post game conference that he loved that about Beverly. That the spark in which Beverly brings, that excitement, that intensity, all of that. He said he loved that. He said he missed it. His exact words was, "I missed that." Paul George said that. He said, "I missed that," and he said that is something that Beverly brings to a team that ignites the team and ignites the arena, all of that.
I
And
agree, Trey.
so,
Yeah.
yeah, his emotions are his gift, and it can be. It can be, Drew.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Dre. It absolutely
Oh
can.
yeah.
Absolutely can be. Um, but I mean, I give it to him. You know what I'm saying? That was obviously a huge hurdle for him as well as the Timberwolves to get past the play and make it into the playoffs. Um, and Beverly showed that hey, LA, y'all made a mistake by letting me go, and I'm gonna prove it to you.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
I'm always looking at if I see the opposition, I'm like I played for them. I want to make sure I get the W-2, and I want to make sure I'm the reason that saying y'all took an L. So,
Oh yeah. Oh
of course, additionally, getting to the other teams that play, I think it was another game last night. Uh,
yeah. Oh
oh
yeah.
yeah, okay. Cleveland faced off against traveled to Brooklyn, take on the Brooklyn Nets in the first game of the play-in tournament, and Cleveland couldn't get the job done so much. At one point, it was a blowout. Correct me if I'm wrong, 22 points or something like that. But Cleveland was walking in the Nets, but the Nets were able to become victorious, winning 115 to 108. Of course, the Nets were led by 34 points from Kyrie Irving, who didn't miss a shot until the fourth quarter. 34 points, 3 rebounds, 12 assists, 18
The
points
devil is
from
working. The devil is
Brown,
working.
9 points, 8 assists, 25 points, 5 rebounds, 11 assists from KD. Uh, Patrick Patty Mills 6 points, 5 points, 1 assist. Always do that for Bishop.
Yeah, you
Steph.
already
I mean,
know
I'm
how
not
I feel
Steph.
about Patty Mills.
Seth. What is
Seth,
on with Seth, bruh? Not
0
as
points. He had a zero
over 2 rebounds
over
basically. But
33 minutes.
another
Mm.
cast off from the damn Lakers. Andre Drummond, 16 points,
yeah.
8 rebounds, 0 assists. Damn, man. Goodness
That
gracious.
part, that part.
Uh, the Cavaliers, a valiant effort. Darius Garland, that young boy, 34 points, 1 rebound, 5 assists, 14 points from 13 rebounds, 1 assist from K Love. Um, 13 points, 4 assists from Markkinen. Karis LeVert's 12 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists. Even Mobley, 19 points, 7 rebounds, 2 assists. It just wasn't enough as they couldn't corral and grasp and hold on and make it to where they can to take the lead. Uh, I know y'all want to gloat, Bishop, especially you. So, Cornelius, I'll go to you first, so Bishop can have his opportunity. Uh,
Dirty.
at
He
any
dirty.
point, at any point, did you see? Uh, I think we talked about it before we got on. We basically where it's like, was there a panic point, or did you just believe like, you know what, they got this, they built for this?
Well, I thought they had control of the game all along. I thought it was more on Steve Nash being a young coach as far as the
Oh,
Cavs getting back in the game.
mm-hmm,
I just saw it watching the game, the flow of the game. It's like we're up by 22. I think that if you don't start resting people right then, and you go ahead and keep it full throttle, then you blow them out, and everybody's sitting down in the fourth quarter with like 8 minutes left, right? Like
mm-hmm.
Steve, I think Steve Nash has to learn that aspect of the game. Don't raise up too early. Uh, because the Cavs really had no shot when they were. You saw when they were thumping full throttle. And the last thing I want to say was the biggest part to me was, did you see KD with those blocks, man? That one block where he falls all the way to the ground blocking that guy's shot. He was saying, "Oh, not today." He had already set the tone that this is how it's going to be. Yeah, if you want it, I'm coming with it, right?
Bishop.
Thank you. Thank you.
Uh,
Thank you. Thank
here
you.
we go.
Thank you. Thank you. My Nets have a straight like CC said it yesterday, man. CC said it best yesterday, man. Kyrie had something to prove. And for that man to go 10 for 10 and not miss his first shot until the fourth quarter, CC hit the nail right on the head, man. Kyrie was on a mission, man. Kyrie was on a mission. Him and KD were flawless in the first half. Now, I will say this. Man, I love my Nets, man. I love my
Of course, as you say, the Nets haven't worried. What's good, Applewhite? What's good? Well, good morning, sir. The Nets haven't worried. He said, I think this morning. Okay, there you go. You back, Bishop? Okay. Like I said, oh, there you go. You good? Go ahead, bro.
Yeah. The Nets have definitely had me worried. Man, excuse my internet. I don't know what's going on, but I keep going in and out. But either way, Nets have definitely had me worried because KD and, like I said, Kyrie was hitting on all cylinders last night. And if they barely got past the Cavaliers, we're about to have major problems with the Boston Celtics. We're about to have major problems with the Boston Celtics. I do know it's a 7-game series, so hopefully we can come out on top. We are looking for big. They have stated that big may be back for the first round of the playoffs, which would be great because we could definitely use him defensively because we can't stop nobody defensively. Yeah, thank you, Dre. Dre, absolutely. We definitely need Ben if we plan on making it past the first round. Um, uh, the Cavs, we were up on the Cavs by 20 points, and they came back. They came back on us. That's horrible, man. Um, Claxton did his thing, you know what I'm saying? But we need points from Seth. We need points from Patty, Punkins, Mills. We need points, bro. We need points on the board. KD and Kyrie can't do it by themselves. They can't. You know what I'm saying? We gotta have contributors. And the bad thing is when KD or Kyrie needs a rest, that's when we falter. That's when the Nets falter, and it's bad. It's bad.
Do you agree with this,
So I have a
Cornelius?
yes, but I have a question. I have a question for you guys as far as the Nets go. Uh, with KD and Kyrie playing 40 minutes last night, you think that they can sustain that? You think they're conditioned to play that many minutes night after night in order to get W's? If that's gonna be what it takes?
See, that's my thing. And that's my thing. That's what I was just talking about in regards to KD or Kyrie has to take a rest. It's a problem. It's gonna be a problem for us. It's gonna be a major problem if them two guys don't get rest. And there's no way we can go through the whole playoffs like that with them playing that amount of minutes. There's no way we're gonna be able to make it. We can't. It's not possible, bro. They have to get their time to rest during the game, and then those players off the bench, the Patty Mills, the Seth Currys, and all of them, they have to do their part, man. They have the Dragon. He had 3 points, but he only played 10 minutes. But didn't KD do that last? I mean, he did, but bro, he can't continue to keep doing that, bro. I feel what you're saying, AP, but he can't continue to do it. He has to have some help. And lost, absolutely that part, Dre. And lost. We did. He did it. He's carrying the team, and he can't continue to do it. He has Kyrie. We need Ben to come in there and do his part if he's able to come in and play a key role defensively. But if he can't, it's not looking good for my Nets, man. What do you say, Trey?
I agree. You can't like you can the conditioning part, like Cornelius was asking about, it isn't. It's only so far you can hold up with that. At some point, it's going to end up being it becomes a toll. It takes a toll on the body. We talking about potentially for 16 games. That's just outright just to win games. You don't take in consideration the games in which you possibly lost. They add with being in the play-in, they added at least one extra game as well. Now you got to look at doing battle. Now you got to sit up and run and put in a concerted effort against Boston. If you start taking it to where you go on 7-game series and taking it all the way to 7 games, that's too much. They're not going to be uh, he said that's one extra suicide. It's gonna be too much, man. It's like I mean, but that's what that metal, that mental toughness, that resiliency comes from, and
Yeah,
it's just one of those things where if they are, you know, saying of course they earned it, but like I said, 40 minutes a game over the course
that's
of
a
the
lot,
seven
bro.
games, like that's a
Yeah.
tremendous amount, and of course it only gets harder
CC,
as you get.
answer your own question. Do you think they need it? Do you think they can do it?
No. I also want to respond to this guy, the Anthony Price right there with the he lost by a toe. Uh, y'all need to stop it. Y'all need to stop it. He did not lose by a toe, man. Look,
If it
okay,
came
his
down
toe
to
was
that,
on the line. He did not lose by a toe. He lost. He lost because he ran out of gas in OT. He did nothing
that
in
part.
OT. You
That
know, the
part.
goose egg in OT, baby.
That
That's
part.
where the game was lost. That's where it was
That
lost.
part.
He,
But did y'all notice
he was
last
out of
night they
gas.
played? That's true, Stacey. You're right. I totally agree with you. But they played last night that part that they wouldn't flash back to where he shot the ball and his toe was on the line. Well, last night he took a corner three and he looked down to make sure he was
Yeah.
behind the 3 point line when he dropped that three from the corner. So they definitely talked about it, but I totally agree with you, CC. It wasn't that 2 pointer. It was the fact that he 0 for in the OT. No points.
Exactly.
Over. That
and
that
so
plays a huge part.
of course, with that being said, we know Brooklyn now moves on to play as a number 2 seed to take on. Correction, moves on and secure the 7th seed to take on number 2 seeded Boston in the West. The Minnesota Timberwolves secure their number 7 seed. Now move on to take on Memphis tonight. Another play in preview. We got Charlotte,
Two good games again.
them Hornets traveling to the ATL, Charlotte, to take on
Shout it.
uh, Trey.
Boomer. Tuna. Go ahead, Trey. Finish it. Go ahead. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
He's taking on another point guard that came from a state. And of course, the second game you had San Antonio Spurs will be traveling to that Know Ya baby to take on the New Orleans Pelicans gentlemen in these two games. Charlotte and Atlanta. Who y'all rocking with?
CC, you go first.
Um, um, I'm sticking with my guns, man. I'm going with. I give the Hawks a slight edge,
Uh huh.
a little edge in this game tonight. The Hornets are going to play hard, though. They're going to give you everything they got. But I think the Hawks. I think the Hawks will win a close game.
Bishop.
Good
I'm
call.
already.
Good call.
I
Good
don't already
call.
know
Good
who the
call
hell.
there, TC. I gotta go with Ice Trey. Y'all know how he do when he get it. I gotta go with Ice Trey, man. They played in Atlanta. Not taking it away from the Hornets and involving them. I think it's gonna be a good game. Like CC said, it's definitely gonna be a close one. But I'm definitely giving it to the Hawks.
Mm.
Trey, what are you talking about, Mavs? They don't even play tonight.
He's probably trying to be funny.
Yeah,
So it wouldn't be me if I agree with y'all. So of
but
course,
we see how that's turned out, CC.
wait for it,
Right.
wait for it, wait for it. So of course, I'm rocking with the Hornets on this one, and I don't think it's going to be.
Ooh.
I don't think it's going to be a close game either.
Ooh,
I do
not a
not think it's going
blowout.
to
I
be
know
a.
you're not saying they
I'm
blow
not saying
out
it's going to
mom.
be a blowout, but I'm just saying I
Oh,
don't think it's going to be one of those games where we was like, oh yeah, they was in it. I think the Hornets take care of business tonight. Of course, the
okay.
other one in the
Mm.
West, San Antonio, New Orleans. Who y'all rocking with?
CC.
I'm going in that game. I'm going to go with CJ McCollum in that game. I'm going to take the Pelicans. Just
CC
because
all over it,
just
man.
because it's TJ McCollum. I think San Antonio. I like Popovich, but that's all I like about San Antonio right now is Popovich. The coach. Other than that, the player. He just doesn't have the players, man. He doesn't have the players that he needs to really do his Popovich thing. Um, and that shows by their record. Their record directly reflects it. The Pelicans' record reflects where they are without Zion, without having all their pieces together. But I think the pieces that they do have is better than what San Antonio is going to put out there tonight.
Bishop, who you got, bro? Of course, as Bishop is Paul, we can get back to him. But I agree.
Hmm.
I think. Oh, go ahead, Bishop. Who you got? So I'm rocking with agree with you, Cornelius. The Pelicans, of course. CJ McCollum has basically came and turned that team around and made it a playoff contender. Put them in the playoffs, even though it's in the play-in, but they did make it. Now he gets an opportunity to dispatch San Antonio. I don't think San Antonio has enough to keep pace. You guys still, we're talking about CJ, but we're omitting people like Hayes, Brandon Ingram,
Oh yeah.
uh Graham, Devin Graham, like they got other players that's there. The coming of Alvarez, who was a only two-way player at one point. Now he is assigned in, so they're locked in. I think they have enough to get to the seven, take and make it to where they get a chance to play the Clippers, and maybe even dispatch the Clippers. But I mean, we'll be able to talk about that a little later in the week. But I'm going with the Pelicans. Bishop, who did you pick?
Man, yeah, I gotta go with CJ, like CC and yourself, man. CJ, I mean, yeah, CJ McCollum, like you said, Trey, has definitely turned that team around. Um, that was an added, definitely a great addition with CJ coming to New Orleans. Being that Zion isn't playing, hasn't played for a while. I do like San Antonio. Don't get me wrong. They're a young team, and Popovich probably one of the best coaches outside of Pat Riley what's his name from Pat Riley and
Miami. Trust Pop. Oh, okay, Dre, you going with
Oh,
San Antonio?
oh, I see. Trusting
I,
Pop tonight.
and I wouldn't, saying I'm not too against that. When he's in the playoffs, we at this point we didn't think Pop was going to get to the playoffs. We just thought he was going to be successive in getting that elusive win. But he continued on, got a couple of more wins, strung some more wins across, and here he is in the playoffs. Uh, you think they'll exploit him? It remains to be seen. I
Uh,
don't know. I think CJ is their factor, or maybe even Brandon Ingram. One of those two is going to go off. Is going to be the
absolutely,
difference.
yeah.
yeah. CJ is going to be the difference maker tonight versus the Spurs, and then the Spurs is traveling to New Orleans, man. That's going to be hard for them to beat the Pelicans on their own court, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But
If it wasn't a weekday, I surely would be there.
right.
So of course, so we got that. So I asked y'all this question before I slide up out of here and let y'all rock. The we talked about earlier this week. Me, myself, and Ron and Cornelius talked about what or who we think is a player that didn't get enough love. What's funny is as I was doing some more research, I came across another post in which they put forth some names in which they said didn't get enough love. So I got four names for y'all, and tell me
Mm-hmm.
if y'all believe they got enough love this season. The four names are the Murray, point guard from San Antonio, R.J. Barrett,
RJ
from
Barrett from Knicks.
from the Knicks, Trey Young, of course, from
Hawks.
the Hawks, and lastly LeBron James from the Lakers.
What?
Did
What? Wait, hold on, man. Hold on.
did
What
those
is the
four play?
question, bro?
Did they get enough? Did you think they got enough love this season for what they did?
Love for what? What type of love? What do you mean?
Love, like they're saying that for their contribution to the
LeBron
season.
James shouldn't even be in it. He
Why
shouldn't even
not?
be in it. For
Why
what?
not?
For what?
Have
For
you
what?
seen what he definitely deserves to be in there. I had to think about it, but he does
What does
deserve
he
to be in
deserve?
there.
LeBron James,
The
if
man,
he
the
don't even,
man is 30. The man is 38 years old, and he consistently
what I'm
scored
saying, hear me out
26
though.
plus
Hear
points
me out
in
though.
each
What do you
game.
mean he didn't get no love? What more love does he need? They talked about LeBron they talk about LeBron all season. They talk about LeBron when he was in third grade. They talk about LeBron when he'll be 80 years old. What more love does LeBron?
Case in point, this is like our third or fourth time talking about LeBron and the Lakers on this show right now. It's like, hey, he gets enough
LeBron
love, man.
didn't get enough love.
LeBron got enough love, man. His team underperformed. Poor him, right? Like, you know, but to me, that shows what LeBron is all the time, man. He always shows his team up, man. I mean, it's just his talent. There's no knock against LeBron. It just shows his talent. It's like, look, I'm 38 years old. I dropped 30 points a game. I averaged 30 points a game. And I still couldn't get my team there. But look at my teammates. It's always the focus on LeBron's teammates, no matter where he goes, man. Like his talent has just been that great, right? That you got to look at
He
everything else around.
overshadowed. But like you said, like earlier, like Dre said, LeBron needs to get out the way. Like he's a hindrance.
He
He
does.
doesn't. Yeah, he's a
He
hindrance at
does.
this point. In the sense, he's a hindrance. He doesn't allow for the like we said, like we're just like I continue to talk about all these players in which we had. Some of them have been around for the LeBron era, and they're gone. Like D'Angelo Russell still there when LeBron got there?
No, no.
He left before that. He was the Kobe era.
Stop it, Dre. Stop it. Stop it, Dre. Stop it.
So I mean, so it's he just needs to move, or he needs to like relinquish some of that and keep it pushing. So the other two, like you said, Delonte Murray. I mean, not Demarta, Delonte Murray. RJ Barrett.
You
Did he
said
get
that he
enough
didn't get
yo?
enough love.
Yeah, RJ Barrett.
Why are we loving him? I mean, I think he's an upcoming talent in the league. It'll be like I don't think he'll ever be really great, but I think he can help with a championship. Like he could be on a potential championship roster or playoff team. Playoff rosters and stuff that can run deep. But what are we loving him for? Like, where are the Knicks right now? You know, what are we loving him for?
So let's look at it like this, right? True enough, like you said, the Knicks are their home right now. But he was when you look at him, he's done like we talk about consistently as Bishop called him part of the left hand duel, in which he's been helpful to them. He didn't. I think he wasn't noticed enough. Let's say that that's what about the love we're talking about was enough notice. I don't think he got enough notice at the end of the day because he was overshadowed, of course, by them losing, by of course him having Julius Randle there. Um, he shows up. So I think that's more so what we're talking about when we take a look at like what it is that how they present themselves at the end of the day. I think for him, he wasn't not saying he didn't get any love. It's just he didn't get enough love. I don't think he had enough promise. That was he didn't have enough uh, of an opportunity to show or talk about to be as like okay, he's the problem in the NBA, and I think that's what it most for the most part comes down to. I think
Yeah.
Young definitely, you know what I'm saying, is on the same is in the same boat as LeBron. Like,
Agreed.
yeah, it's
Agreed.
they doesn't
He got his love. He's getting his love. I feel
Yeah.
like Trey Young is definitely getting his love.
and so I think the only person
Yeah.
on this list that definitely is not getting all that is just the Jonte Murray.
Yeah, old boy from the Spurs, right? That's the
Yeah,
Spurs
yeah,
squad,
Yeah.
right?
yeah.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
the
He
one that
definitely.
doesn't.
Yeah, he's definitely not the dude. He's definitely not getting the credit he well deserved. But I also feel like old boy from the Houston Rockets, he ain't getting his just due.
Who's that? Jalen Green,
What's the young kid?
the rookie,
Uh, yeah,
Jalen Green.
Jalen Green.
Jalen Green. That's him. Jalen Green.
My
That's him.
the person in which I said that didn't get enough love, I think, is Malik Monk.
It would be a Laker. It would be a Laker.
I know, right?
It would be
I,
a
I'm,
damn
I'm,
Laker. It would
what
be
are
a
we
Laker.
loving? What are we loving him for?
That part,
Really?
CC. That
Yo,
part, CC.
so
That part, CC.
all seriousness aside, Malik Monk basically was the person that carried the Lakers for the most part of the season when LeBron or Westbrook or AD wasn't
AD.
there. It was Malik Monk who we wouldn't have never expected.
Carry them
It,
where?
I'm talking about
They are sitting. They sitting at home with
so
us. Where did he carry them to?
to,
The couch.
so think about this. At one point, at one
That part,
point,
CC.
at
That
one
part.
point, yeah, at one point he was the one. Like Monk was carrying him those games prior to, and then what happened was remember on there because we was 13 games out of the season ended, and I said they was gonna go 7-6 in that point time frame, in which they ended up going 4-9. But at some point prior to that, Monk was the one that was doing all the scoring and keeping them above water, and they were still in the playing at that point. LeBron went out, AD went out, LeBron came back. AD came back, AD went out, and then it just all fell apart at that point. So prior to that, So
That's
it's you know
true.
say that's what so
Facts.
I speak
Facts,
that's
TT.
I speak facts only, but I would never sit up and there create a narrative or but it's you know saying it's
Right.
factual. That's basically what it is. Like you know saying that's what it is. And at
What
the
are
end of the
we?
day, he sit up and he was the reason he was the best. He's going to be. I would be surprised if LA lets him go. Well, actually, no, I would not be surprised if LA lets him walk. Yeah, and that's at the end of the day. So
I'll let you have that one.
yeah, thank you. You know what I'm saying? Dre, he balled. He did. He really did. He balled out. So it's one of those things like, you know what I'm saying? But like I said, it's not to sit up and be like, we'll have our day in the sun again. It's not like we're down. We'll be good. So I'm not worried about it. As we continue to go on and move forth into move forth into our off season. We don't have any first round picks unless we find a way to trade back in, which we don't have any unless we used to get rid of THT, which I'm not opposed to doing. But yeah. So in any case, moving on. Uh, uh, USFL. Before we get into the NFL, we're trying to wait for Bishop to come back on. USFL. Of course, we know the USFL is in this re-emergent season in which now they are currently getting ready to start their season off this Saturday, as the first game would be their Birmingham team will be playing. Cornelius, are you going to check any of these games, the USFL games?
Oh yeah, it's football. I'm a football fan, so yeah, I'll see what they have to offer. Hopefully,
Mm-hmm.
they're going to put a good product out there.
So what I found yesterday as I was looking at, they're trying. Of course, it's ideal to use different parts of games and stuff like that, or leagues to try to see how we can better, like let's say the top game. Because let's just keep it 100. Most of these leagues, whether it's basketball, baseball, football, um, there's all developmental leagues in which these developmental leagues are the catalyst for being able to use to find out different technologies, how it works. So in this case, one of the technologies in which they're trying to put forth is utilizing the chips that are in the ball. As we know, some of the balls in the NFL have chips in them for the simple fact that they have that they're for next gen stats. So the USFL has decided to utilize that same technology in verifying distance to get the first down. So they're going to eliminate the chains and they're going to put a chip in the ball and going to go ahead and use the yellow line that we see as spectators on the TV and to verify this is the first down. Do you think this is going to be a good move, Cornelius?
Um, I think it's an experimental thing. Well, even sometimes they don't even get it right with the chains, even sometimes. So it's still going to be that human error there as far as looking. But I think it will help. I think it will help keep the game moving, whereas you don't have to wait for chains. So in that aspect of keeping the game, keeping the flow of the game going, an offense is making a move or something, or something like that, and then you have to stop and wait for the chains to kind of slow you down. I think it'll be good to see if that changes the pace of the game a little bit.
Yes, I agree. And so I see Anthony asked a question: can the USFL players go to the NFL? Of course, I think that's right. In any case, they can. But it's funny that you say that because that brings up another topic, Anthony, in which the XFL, which is due to start next week, next year, has formalized a agreement or entered a partnership with the NFL Alumni Academy, in which they're going to have a training and camps with potential XFL players, in which those top players in that program are going to have an opportunity and are going to be the NFL's top players that are in those camps are going to have an opportunity to go into the XFL, as the XFL is going to be utilized as the developmental portion for those teams. So they
So
so go ahead, Cornelius.
I was gonna say, so with that, so basically they're gonna try to do like a whole like a
The,
minor league. I
so to
you know
speak. So that's where they're going to utilize the XFL to train and send the players and those where. So in this program, that for this particular program with the alumni camp, the top performing players are going to actually get a call up, are going to be placed on, are guaranteed to be placed on XFL teams, so they can play in the real time. And then from those XFL teams, they can potentially be called up to the NFL, or I guess they're going to be a part of those teams as well that are playing. So that's currently that's where they're going to be doing for the XFL, which is interesting. Is always I believe that what has happened is they're always looking for a farm system for players. For the most longest, it has been the I mean the NCAA's, but of course we know those are completely different disparities when you come to talent. But you, for the most part, you start to put some of these gentlemen with former talents that used to be in the NCAA and haven't made it or are panning out in the NFL and start to put them together. I guess it becomes more of a iron sharpen iron situation, and that should be more conducive to the situation. So, to answer your question, I think that's exactly what they have going on.
Well, I think from what you're saying, I think what I like about it is the opportunities for some that wouldn't get the opportunity. You know, certain, because you can only take so many at the combine. There's only so many on rosters and things like that. So sometimes a really good player doesn't get to make the league. So it's always those what if scenarios. Any way to put the best product out there. If this is going to help put the best product, XFL wise, NFL wise, however they're working out this thing, I think that's good to put the best players. I mean, that's what we watch sports for as fans, right? To see the best play the best.
And I agree. It's definitely going to completely make a complete difference. And hopefully, you know what I'm saying, it works out. XFL with I've been looking at some of their game, what they have for plans. I take a look at the USFL and how they're doing something. When you look at it, it seems like they're kind of switching the roles to where, remember how the XFL, when it first came out, it was more of an entertainment product because it was being put forth by, of course, one of the biggest entertainment industries in wrestling with the WWE. So now what it seems like is the USFL is more of an entertainment sport. Not to say that they're not trying to be valid, but it's more of an entertainment sport because they're trying different things as we look at the different rules in which they have when it comes to overtime, when it comes to 3-point conversions and things of that nature. And the XFL now is trying to, of course, ran by the Dwayne Johnson, or AKA the Rock, and his crew are putting forth a product that's going to be conducive to developing and a forthcoming product to ensure that the players in the NFL are players that are up and coming and aspiring to be NFL athletes get an opportunity to the best to a degree. So I don't see it as a situation to where a player coming out of high school is going. Correction, a player coming out of college is going to be relegated down to the XFL to play, and then they get brung up to the
Oh
NFL.
yeah.
But I do see it as a situation to where those free agents, or potentially those people who are free agents, or undrafted free agents, and they don't have squads, then they might be good enough to play in the XFL on the XFL team, and then looked at and seeing like, okay, they do have some chops. So then you start getting people who are assigned from those teams and organizations.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I think it'll be interesting to see how it all unfolds, and um, the USFL. Maybe you never know. At some point, those two might merge or something down the line. I think. I think the teams, like how many teams you start with versus uh, depends on how many players, like you have per roster, and it gives more opportunities. But will it affect anything? My question would be: is it going to affect anything now that some of the college players, they can, now that they can get some of those endorsement deals and stuff? Is that going to affect at any time the professional sports? You know what I mean? Like if I can make a little money now, get sponsors and stuff in college, is that going to affect long term the professional, people going towards pros, or some players is going to say, hey, I made my money in college and then that's it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that could be saying that could be because you see that's kind of like what happened with the G League where they started creating a lane to where players didn't go to even go into school, but I don't think that's I think that you can't do that with football for the most part. You could do it with baseball, you could do it with basketball, but football I don't foresee as one of those things you could do it with. But it would be interesting. But as all things usually evolve, if there starts to be a lane for it, just like we see what happened with the NILs and stuff like that, then we're gonna it's gonna move forth, and then we'll see something where possibly they eliminate a players going to the league or going to college or using college as a 2 year and done situation, and where it's like let's not waste the time, let's get them in this system if they're good enough and go from there.
Okay, okay.
So, but I mean, it would be interesting. So, as we break real quick for as I wait for Bishop to get back on, so I have a meeting I have to go to. So tell us about your show yesterday, the Stimulate Your Mind show. What was the topic? What was some of the top discussions on for those individuals who weren't able to catch it? That's here right now. Please
Well,
enlighten.
Well, yeah, yesterday, the Sim show for short, the Stimulate Your Mind show yesterday was all about mortgages. It was all about the market, the housing market. It was a lengthy interview. I have a 30-minute show, so the bulk of it was discussing. For those that missed it, uh, Mortgage Connections was telling us that it's definitely a seller's market, and sellers are not coming down on prices. So if you're looking to buy, make sure. Make sure you have your ducks in a row. Credit was a huge part of it. Um, credit was a huge part of it. Setting yourself up to be successful. If you're in the Houston area, I would say look up the Mortgage Connections because I hear properties are still at a premium there. If you're looking for great places, give Mr. Ed Green a shout, man. He did. I think he did a wonderful job as far as breaking down everything. I mean, he gave a lot of insight that you normally wouldn't get, and I think the beauty of having him on was the fact that he sees it from both sides. As far as he's not just a broker, he's also a lender. you know, like so he can get your loan approved or lead you in the right direction to get those loans. To get a loan and things like that. So it's good when you get insider info like that from someone who's actually been in that game for over 20 plus years. A long time doing those things. But like I said, the benefit of having a broker as such is having that telling you what you need to do to get that loan, or steering you in the right direction, and being on your side. Being on your side as far as a buyer, having someone on your side that's keeping you well informed and not just giving you the information to put money in their pockets. That's always great when people want to pass along info and help people out. Which is what my show is geared towards. Being uplifting in the community, um, giving people that knowledge and that insight, and spotlighting those people within the communities that are willing to pass it on and willing to help people out along the way.
Okay. And so, what? Of course, we'll make sure. I see, Dre. You said drop the link. We'll be sure to drop the link in the comments by this in the show or in the show where y'all can be able to catch Cornelius stimulate your mind. The Sim Show, SYM Show, every Tuesday. What's it? 5:30 Eastern
Five
Standard
thirty
Time.
Eastern.
Yeah,
Five
4:30.
thirty. 5:30 p.m. Eastern. iHeartRadio, Apple Music, Tuned In, etc.
Uh, So and even that, what has been some of the other shows or topics in which you have had outside of the mortgage one? What has been other topics in which you have seen to be beneficial to the listeners
Um,
that you
you
can
know,
touch
uh,
on?
I'm the people's coach, and it's always about I come on this sports show, we talk champions or not champions all the time. So it's all
Hmm.
about coaching the championship putting people on game and understanding the things that it takes in these climates, not just mental health, but also physical health and building your businesses and stuff, being, let's face it, man, being a good person, the championship you, to me, that's what it represents. I'm sure we've all had our struggles and stuff in life. So telling some of those stories, like even from my past and things like that, sharing insights. I write books and stuff. So sharing the insights of the pains that a man had, like sharing my world. And it's not. A lot of people might think it's easy to sit there and open up your life and stuff, because I get it a lot. People say, "Man, you make it seem easy," but it's not. It's like being vulnerable, which is hard to do, especially coming up, from a different time period in these generations in time. Is more sensitive. One of the biggest things that I talked about on my show was geared toward us as men, black men, white men. It doesn't matter, but taking care of ourselves first and foremost, to be able to take care of home, to be able to take care of all the responsibilities that we have. Each person has a little bit more or a little bit less on their plate, but we're all human, and sometimes we run out of gas.
Uh-huh.
Like, so that coaching the championship you is all about, man. How do you retool, refuel, refocus, or stay focused and go after what you want? And not letting all of the outside factors become such a distraction that they tear you apart or tear you down. Um,
I agree. I see. I see. It's so and that's very paramount and beneficial, of course, to sit up and to be able to talk and engage and speak with individuals, so that way they're able to keep, especially when you talk about, like you say, young African American males or males in general, where you talk to it, because for the most part, to some degree, there are some things that do mount up the same way with other, saying races, genders, ethnicity, but to be able to speak, saying what we have, where you come together as African American individuals as time has come, and have those same creative individuals come together and be able to talk that same language, I'm sure is very beneficial. What about for the ladies and everything like that, or for some aspects, has that came into about, or anything in which you have covered that the women could benefit from? Not to say that they can't, from when you talk about African American men or men in general, but what about for the females?
oh yes, my show is geared towards everybody, and I've done a lot for using my platform to showcase all the small businesses. The bulk of the businesses that I have represented, from the Fancy Lips Cosmetics to the Lip Sense and things like that. They're all headed by female owners, young entrepreneurs, or entrepreneurs in general that are coming up. The Fam Dot brand, it's a shared venture between a couple, and I represent them heavily on the show. They're some of my biggest supporters. Um, you know, um, and, and keeping with that mind frame, mental health, just giving that platform for everybody to be able to speak freely is a great thing. I've been blessed to have that platform. I like to say thanks to WDRB Media for uh, giving me giving me the light to be able to do that, and giving me the green light to come up with my own content. Like, I create the whole thing myself as far as what I want to talk about each day. Uh, there's no pressure. A lot of times I like to go unscripted because it makes it fresh for me, and it makes it fresh for everybody in that moment. I see Bishop is back.
Yeah, man. Excuse me. My computer in the middle of the show decided to do an update right in the middle of the show, man. So my apologies to all y'all that's watching, and to my fellow um, cast members, man. My bad. I don't know why I didn't see that. Normally, I'm the one controls when the updates happen, but either way. So what would you talk about, CC?
Uh, Trey Trey just had me talking about my shows. My show, the Sim show, the Stimulate Your Mind show, a little bit, just to fill in
Oh, okay,
until you got back.
okay, okay. That's what's up. What's up? Make sure y'all check out CC show, man. If y'all get an opportunity throughout the day, be sure to tune into the show. CC, I'm sure has a great show. He's a great addition on here to First Formation. Um, and We definitely enjoy having him on the show. With that being said, man, we're gonna jump on over to football, man. Mel Kiper has his mock for top 10 draft picks that are about to come up. The draft is, of course, on the 28th of this month, the 28th to the 30th, I believe, of this month. Um, with the Mel Kiper's 4.0 draft, this is what I think he has as his top five picks for the 22 draft, which with number one, as you can see down at the bottom on the ticker, Aiden Hutchinson is going to the Panthers as defensive end at first. Number two, Ahmad Gardner is going to the Lions. Of course, this is Mel Kiper's. He's a cornerback going to the Lions. Third is Trayvon Walker going to the Texans, another defensive end. And number four, Kayvon Thibodeau. He's going to the Jets, another defensive end. And rounding off the top five is Iku Ikwanu, the Giants offensive tackle. Those are his top five. And then the rest of his top five or top 10 is Malik Willis, of course, going to the Panthers, a quarterback for Liberty, which initially Malik Willis was scheduled to be going to the Pittsburgh Steelers. However, with Mel Kiper's new 4.0 draft, mock draft, he has him going to the Panthers now. And then at number seven, Jermaine Johnson, the defensive end, is going to the Giants. At number eight, Garrett Wilson, wide receiver, going to the Falcons. At number nine, Evan Neal going to the Seahawks at offensive tackle. And rounding out the top 10, of course, is Drake London headed to the Jets as the wide receiver. We have one, two, three. Well, Mel Kiper has four defensive.
Oh yeah, I can see. Oh, there you go. I was like, "Are you there?" Um, I can see Aiden Hutchinson.
Oh, my bad. My stuff is still acting a fool, man. What are your thoughts about the four defensive ends that he has going in the top 10 in the 2022 draft?
Yes. Um, well, it's not too many. It's not too many offensive players out there that I would rock with right now. As far as you're looking for top players, most of them are on the defensive end. This is definitely a defensive draft. Uh, I do agree
Mm-hmm.
with. I agree with that first pick. I think that the Jacksonville Jaguars, after taking, they already have their quarter. Yeah, they already
Yeah.
have their. Oh
Sunshine?
no, you said the Panthers have the number one draft. The Panthers are going number one. My bad. I thought it was the Jaguars, but if it's the Panthers going number one and they're taking the DN, that'll be great. Because the Panthers are always known for defense, always trying to build through the defense. The most successful teams they've had have been defensive. If that's correct, having the Panthers taking the number one draft pick. Um, the Lions, same old thing to me. That organization has, when they get serious about winning, then we can talk about them for real. Bishop needs to stop using AOL. um, I don't know what much to say as far as the draft will be the 28th, and you'll see it might be some adjustments there, some picks that'll change. The Trayvon Walker going to the Texans. There's another organization right now that's in turmoil. That's always flipped up. They went from potentially winning something to losing everything. So yeah, going defensively, they've done that in the past. They went Mario Williams when they should have went maybe back then Reggie Bush or something. They went Mario Williams, so they're notorious for going defensively. They take the J.J. Watts and things like that, and it works out for them as far as making a team that can compete within the division, but it just hasn't yielded any huge playoff markers or anything big long term. I do like the Thibodeau. I just wish that he wasn't going to be spending his career with the Jets, man. like or starting off his career with the Jets, I should say. Uh, the Jets are man, that's one of those where it's one of those teams. The Jets and the Lions to me are where careers don't really start there. They die in those places. So I think, but Kayvon Thibodeau, maybe he'll bring something a little different. Maybe they'll finally get a winning attitude throughout the whole organizations, those two organizations, the Lions and the Jets, and do something with it. It's about time. I'm sure. I got a lot of people up in Detroit that diehard fans. Hopefully, Detroit turns the corner and actually starts competing instead of staying at the bottom of the league. It's the same for the Jets. How long can you be at the bottom and say that you're rebuilding before people really see through it and see that you're just not vested into producing winners and putting something out there positive. No matter the Jets are in a big market and still haven't come with anything as of late to really make them a factor or to make them a discussion as far as NFL worthy. They're just another team out there playing. Um, but some of I like the Giants going offensive line. You got Saquon Barkley. That's a good move to build up your line. I don't know if that'll help Daniel Jones in your quarterback situation, but I know if you want to keep both a quarterback and a running back semi healthy, it starts with some of the offensive line. Or if you want to open holes for Saquon and things like that, so yeah, it's a good move to get a tackle in the draft. Um, and I like to say, those that are still out there listening, thanks. Sorry for all the struggles of Bishop this morning, and Trey having to get out of there. They just left me here with the first formation. Um, a little awkward, but we can keep it pushing. I'm going to switch a little bit from the NFL and go back to the NBA a little bit, and because that's what's on the horizon, the playoffs. Deep, I know that we'll be talking about it. I'm here until Friday. I'm here all week, so I'm sure we'll all be talking about it more as far as the matchups and things like that. But I think the biggest thing for me, I'll just talk about piggyback off the disappointments for me. Is we've talked enough about the Lakers, but we need to shed some light not only just on the Knicks' disappointing season, but we can also look at the Clippers as far as their season. Still making the play-in game with people being hurt, but I think that Tyronn Lue, if he's going to prove that he's a real relevant coach and a good coach, I think that he had better players that he could do something with more than just 42 and 40 and scraping it. I think it's all about finding those players to match up. I give him credit for making a late season trade. It was a gutsy move, so it shows that they are trying. It's teams out there that are trying. Um, Disappointment, I would have to say, really, the Nets have been somewhat of a disappointment with Kyrie in and out of the lineup, the whole Harden move. You don't know what you're going to get from Ben Simmons, but the thing that makes them a juggernaut coming for the playoffs is the talent that they have offensively. Those guys can shoot you out of the building. But overall, as far as a regular season, they had a poor season. Thanks for not throwing me under the bus, Anthony. I like that. Um, and I feel that we'll stay away from that. And I think, but I would like to talk the New York Knicks specifically. Bringing in Tom Thibodeau as the coach, I thought that was a good move for them. And after last season, everybody thought that they were coming back. They were always one of my, back in the days, the Patrick Ewings and all them. They were always a hard working team to me. Where is that hard work ethic for the modern day Knicks? I think that fall off started with, I hate to say it, but it started off with, the Carmelo going there, not willing to put in the work to build anything there. There's been tons of excuses for that Knicks organization, but how long are we going to let one of the biggest, like they get a lot of media coverage and a lot of press. How can we let something that big go unnoticed for so long? Saying, "Hey, when are y'all going to actually put a winner back out there? Something competitive." I mean, New York Knicks. The question that you have to ask is why no players are clamoring. Why are none of these big name players clamoring to play in New York? Is it the head of the organization or something? I mean, those are the things that we have to look at. Um, I know a lot of people. Root for the Knicks solidly. Don't really want to root out loud because they struggle because of their struggles recently. I should say the recent struggles, but uh, Knicks fans, I wonder where is that? Like when are you going to say, hey, bring us something? We're starving for something great. New York is one of those places. It's they call Madison Square Garden the basketball mecca. So when are you going to have a player that puts on that jersey and somewhat lives up to that bill? Um, I think you can go. And what happened to the Sacramento Kings? That's another one that puzzles me. They had a great organization. They were one, their fans always great fans. One of the loudest places to ever visit and things like that to watch a game and to see that collapse. Like over the last 10 or so years, like that collapse has been horrible for the Sacramento Kings. It's like they've completely fallen off. They're always in rebuild mode. They haven't really brought anything to the table. But adjusting a little bit and getting back to the playoffs, as far as the teams that are in the playoffs, I don't have a lot of faith. I didn't have a lot of faith in the Mavericks anyway. With Luca or without Luca, they haven't proven that they can get out of the first round. Um, they have to prove that. It's about making players prove right now. Harden has a lot to prove. Kyrie has a lot to prove. Joel Embiid, he has somewhat something to prove. The Philadelphia 76ers in general have something to prove. Can they get over the hump? Can they make it to a finals? Um, oh, and the Wizards. Yeah, we can talk the Washington Wizards. I think their biggest issue is getting formidable players or should I say relevant players to really want to go there and stay there and play and bring it up. Um, what is it? Yeah, the Wizards. I liked it when they had like how they started off this year. I thought making the move with Kuzma, I thought that would put them in a conversation to make a playoff push. But Bradley Bill, man, it's one of those things where they always say it's time to either poop or get off the pot. I think it's time for him to get off the pot there, move along and make way. And then, to me, their bad decision was to pick up Porzingis, even though he's a talent. He's just not healthy, and that's something I can say for guys in his height range. You go back to the Yao Mings, things like that. Guys really that tall, the guys that go over the 7'5" or 7'4" mark and stuff, they always have problems with lower limbs, lower extremities, or lower body parts and stuff. Man, it's always a foot, an ankle, a knee, or something. That hampers them. Porzingis is a talent, but I don't think that that's enough to make them relevant. I would keep Kuzma. I would move everybody else. I would look to move pieces to make the Washington Wizards a good team. And as far as Applewhite there with the Nets, you say the Nets have been a hit and miss team all season. No one should put their money on them. Yeah, I agree. I wouldn't put my money on them. And the mystique of playing in New York is for the older generation. You think so? You think so? I think when players go there, they're always trying to put up big numbers. So I think it's still relevant. I just think that everybody wants to be a visitor and put up big numbers. Sort of like to use an old expression, since you said it's for the older generation. It's sort of like that. It's sort of like Mike and the Kobe's, that go there that have went there historically and put up great numbers in the basketball mecca. I think people want to come in as a visitor and show off what they got more so as play there. Yeah, but I think it's something there as far as the younger generations. They're seeing a different league. I think a lot of people want to play with, it's a friendly league. They want to play with friends and things like that. Um, If you're just joining the show, Bishop is having technical difficulties. Trey had somewhere to go, so I'm Cornelius Cole, filling in for them right now. Um, um, you see, yeah, nobody really wants to play for New York teams these days. But Anthony, I just ask, is that like, what do you think? Why do you think no one wants to play in New York? Do you think that the media coverage is too tough for a lot of people right now? Do you think it's or do you think it's just like the teams are just not popping, or they just not those organizations don't have enough because it's New York City. I mean, who doesn't want to be in New York City? As far as the spotlight is on you, do you think it's too much of a spotlight when you play for the New York teams, no matter how good they are or how sorry they are? And I'm talking all sports, not just basketball, but the football teams, baseball, even. Um, what is it? What is it with no one wanting to play in New York? Yeah, spending the money um, is greater than the product they put out. Yeah, I think so. Like I do agree with that. Like sometimes, but that's what I'm saying. Like how do you get a better product in New York? Like how do you get a better product in the most famous one of the most famous cities in the world? Like if not the most famous city in the world, how do you bring a better product there? Like what's the selling point? What's the tipping point? What are these franchises not doing? Besides the Yankees, who seem to just be able to pay a bunch of money and keep a bunch of players, even though they haven't won a World Series in a decade, or so, or over a decade. They still manage to keep name brand players in their jerseys. What are these other franchises not doing? Such as the Mets try to compete a little bit here and there, but as far as football, basketball, things like that, like what do they need to do to put people there? Those are questions that need to be answered by those franchises. How do we, uh, it's one thing to spend the money. It's another thing, for me, the Knicks. In my case, they spent the money. I said that the other day. They spent the money wrong as far as locking down Julius Randle, and that backfired on them. I think Julius Randle has skills. I'm not saying the guy can't play, but I'm saying he's not a superstar. He's just a middle of the pack type player. And you see that reflected. He started throwing tantrums and things like that when he couldn't live up to the superstar hype in a place like New York. So another question I would have: do you think that the players that play in New York, do you think they have to change their mentality um, to be able to handle that pressure? How do you handle that pressure when you're in a big spotlight like that? You know, it starts with the general managers and coaches willing to change and adapt to live off of I mean, that's true. Like I agree. I think that sometimes, I'm mid 40s, so and I teach middle school kids, and a lot of times, if I say something like, "Well, back in my day," I immediately get a laugh. So I totally feel that sometimes living off the past. I mean, you can use that as a learning tool, but you can also move forward. I still think it's a lot of. I think it's. I think in New York, I think it is heavy. The press is heavy. I think some of the bigger name players in these sports, you got social media and stuff now, so they're saying, hey, I don't even have to go to New York to get the same amount of press or the same amount of love. I think it's so many outlets now that have changed that landscape somewhat, but it's still New York City, and I think that you can still put players there if they just try. Yeah, I agree with you, Freddie. I do think it's but Freddie, do we just stop at management, or do we even look at like ownership? Even like, what are these owners doing to not to not be like on management saying, hey, I want the best product possible for my franchise right now? It seems like some of the owners, like like take the Jets for instance. It's like, when are the owners going to say, "Hey, I want a winning product," or do you think that the owners are just gambling on the wrong management, or is it a combination of both, just ownership and management? It's like the owners do have a say, right? Like they have a say as to who manages their product or who puts what product out there, right? The owners have a say. Um, yeah. So what are the owners doing to change that narrative in New York City? And some it's not just exclusive to New York City. It's some of these other markets as well. It's like how I mentioned Detroit. Detroit could be it's not a it's a big market. It's not a real huge market like a New York or LA or Houston or something, but it's a huge market there. You have a loyal fan base. So why for that football team, why are you not trying to put anybody out there? The basketball team has its struggles, but you know that the Detroit Pistons would bounce back before the Detroit Lions. It's like the Lions haven't done anything. Yeah, I get that the players have to play. Like whatever jersey you have on or whatever team you represent, I get it. I understand that AP that the players have to go out there and play, but uh, I think that getting the right players and getting the right, putting the right product out there. If you're year after year getting lottery picks, or yeah, year after year you get first, second picks overall, and you still haven't produced a product. Remember, we saw that from the Cleveland Browns the last decade or so, where you kept getting all these picks and you still didn't have a product to show people for all of those picks. At some point, uh, you have to say, "Hey, what are we doing wrong?" I mean, do you think they're selecting the wrong players? I get it. The players have to play, but when you can't get players to play together, and when you can't put a solid product out there after years of so-called rebuilding, where does that leave franchises? Like I said, like the Kings and things like that. We're about to see what it does in basketball even more with the Portland Trailblazers. They're getting ready to go through something similar as far as but I wonder what their bounce back will be after being a playoff team for so long and only having some near misses here and there. Um, it's interesting to see what like um, the owners are making on the people showing up as usual. Yeah, I mean that's what I'm saying. You have the diehards, right? But how long can you rely on? How long can you rely on that, Applewhite? How long can you do that? That's what I mean. That's what I'm saying. Like that's the overall thing is that do you want to fix it? Or is it that mantra we were talking yesterday? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Which means that hey, if the fans are still going to show up and they aren't pressing us to put a product um, out there that's worthy, that's deemed worthy of catching everybody's attention or getting that recognition and being competitive, or just putting a competitive product out there, just to diehards, or I think that yeah, that I can take that as a valid statement as far as because people are still showing up, and people are still representing it. So why care? But I think to me that's the wrong mentality to have. I should hope many owners aren't having that mentality, but if they are, then shame on them because it is about putting the best products out there. You saw the disparity this year in the NBA alone. In the NBA alone, when the superstars when the stars played versus when they didn't play, as far as scoring wise, as far as it was a lot of blowouts. I mean, you saw a lot of I can't remember a time where you saw this many 140-point games, 130-point games, 150. But then you had some blowouts, 40 and 50-point blowouts. I mean, what team goes out there to lose by 50 points? To me, that's not trying. That's not, that's collective. That's everything to me when you're going out there and you're losing games. You're getting smoked out there, uh, 30, 40, 50-point leads, and one team scoring 140 and the other team in the 90s and things. It's like definitely the effort. I think some of the teams, yeah, it's about the players' effort, but it's also about the talent that you're putting out there as well. Um, and what do you think about take John Wall down? I think he's down in Houston or wherever he is, being paid not to play. I mean, is that a problem? Paying a guy not to play? Just saying, hey, you know what? You can still collect your money, but we don't want you out here. What does that say for a guy? What does that say for a guy like John Wall, who was a marquee name one while, who had such an upside and all that kind of stuff. But now teams will pay you not to play, and I'm sure he's not the only one that's been paid not to play. But right now, he's the one that I could think of. And how do we change all of that to where it's like, hey, play. I get it. You have a young nucleus, and you don't know what to do with this guy. To me, I think it's saying I would trade him if I could, but it's nowhere that I can send him. Um, but even my hometown, like being from Houston, Texas, I will say this: Houston. Like when you look at the Texans, what happened with the whole Deshaun Watson debacle. I get it. You don't know what the guy could do. You can sit the guy down or whatever, but sitting the guy for a whole year, not moving him. It basically just says that, hey, we don't know what to do with you. Same instance of AP with the John Walls. I mean, you know, I'm not blaming John or anything. I'm just asking the question, like these franchises. I mean, where do you do that? Like, like imagine that being you, AP. I don't know what you do for a living or if you do anything for a living or anything, but I'm just saying, like, think about it. At your job, they say, hey, you know what? We're going to pay you to stay at home. Now, for some of us that'll be great, but wouldn't you be wondering, like, if you take, like, if you're passionate about what you do, wouldn't you be like, hey, so what is that saying? Are you going to get rid of me at some point, or what are we doing there when you're paying me not to show up? What does that say for a franchise, even that, hey, that we got this over here that we can pay you not to show up? Or was the market not good for him? Yeah, players are like, I got drafted in New York, so I made it. Why do I have to work? Yeah, I think that's I think that's one of those things that we're starting to see more and more from the modern day athlete. The attitude. I had said it on my radio show, but it was earlier in the season pertaining to some of those, like I said, the regular season scores and things like that. Whereas like and all these guys are sitting out of these marquee matchups. For one reason or another, not even with serious injuries, but the stars are sitting out, calling it rest and knee soreness and things like that. I think it's just I think to me as a fan, sometimes I feel like the modern athlete, thumbs their noses at us and say, "Hey, I got my money. I'm getting my money, so it doesn't matter. You still wearing my jersey, so I don't have to play. I don't have to show up." Uh, yeah, I mean, I get that. I understand that your time's coming up, but you know, a lot of players they're gonna ask for the money. It's more money ever. You know what I'm saying? You think LeBron started that trend? I beg to differ with that, Applewhite. As far as starting that trend, I think the trend was started with San Antonio, because Popovich used it to rest guys like Tim Duncan who were older and had played a lot of years in the playoffs. I mean, that's what it was used for. Like guys like Tim Duncan who led teams year after year, the Manu Ginobili's and things like that. That led teams year after year. I think Popovich started that, and it became one of these things. Now they overuse it as far as trying to get players. I mean, I think that at some point I've even heard as much. What do you think of that? The NBA is talking about the commission is talking about possibly changing the 82 game schedule to accommodate these guys not playing the back to backs, not playing in the marquee matchups and things like that. Um, um, so like, do you change what's always been there to fit what's going on today? I mean, you can cite injuries as a part of it, but what about I think that's where you put the onus on the players to be conditioned and come in to perform in an 82 game schedule or come as close to it as possible, if that's what you know that you have to do. It's like we all have jobs to do, so think about that. You can't slack a minute at your job and expect to still get paid, but the athletes, they do consistently, in my eyes. Um, um, you think that's what it is? Keep the 82 schedule and give them more than the 15 or something like that. Give them more than I think they 12 suit up, but you have a 15-man roster. You think extending the roster would help? I think it may. I think you might be on to something there. AP with extending the roster. I don't know how that'll look for the owners having to shell out more money to put these guys on the roster. But yeah, I think because remember it is a business that it's about turning a profit. But I think so. I think that'll be valuable. And before it's like a minute or so left on the show. So I like to say thank y'all for rocking with me, Cornelius Cole. Check out my show. If you can see it on the screen there, thesimshow.com. That's my website. The show is Stimulate Your Mind, the Stimulate Your Mind show. I will drop it in the comments here shortly. But you can check me out on iHeartRadio, WDRB Media. If you're on iHeartRadio, you look up WDRB Media Tuesdays, 5:30 p.m. Eastern. Always dropping knowledge there. Like I said, coaching the championship. I like to thank Trey and Bishop for bringing me on First Formation all week and letting me rock with y'all. It's been a great first 3 days. We have two more to go. I love talking, chopping it up with you guys. I love being here. This is a great opportunity, and I hope you guys enjoy your days out there as I try to figure out. Hopefully tomorrow, Bishop and Trey will be back, and everything will be flowing. Hopefully, whoever made that comment about Bishop using AOL, hopefully he gets rid of AOL. you know, hopefully his Wi-Fi is up and running. All you out there, enjoy y'all day and have a great one.
You can't get that guy to take you off, whatever his name is, the one that runs the show or runs the thing.
So hold up.